Hey Barbarians, Slothmaster here with a special episode. A lot of people are asking me, why am I so excited about Whirlwind Upheaval? Well, let me tell you. It's a lot like Whirlwind HotA. It's extremely powerful in the end game. You get tons and tons of overpowers, and you can make every single attack crit. When you get the best gear in the game, your critical overpowers do 10 times as much damage as your regular overpowers, which is already staggering. And the best thing about Whirlwind Upheaval is that it's a little more optimal in terms of how much fury is spent and how long you need to spend on Whirlwind in order to get those crits on every single hit. That means you spend less time on Whirlwind and more time on Upheaval, decimating swarms of enemies. Another advantage of Upheaval is that it has this great range, huge AoE, so it's a lot safer. You can Upheaval from far away. If your gear isn't that good, you don't have to worry about enemies flattening you as you're trying to get in their face to kill them. In addition, if you have the Hellhammer unique weapon, any enemy that you light on fire will deal less damage to you. So if you're interested in the Whirlwind Upheaval playstyle, let me tell you how it works. Whirlwind Upheaval is a fun endgame build that's a nice change of pace from Whirlwind HotA. We start with 2 points in Lunging Strike. We also get 2 points in Whirlwind, because the enhanced Whirlwind gives us a lot of fury back anytime we hit enemies with our Whirlwind. We max out Upheaval. We want to do tons of damage. One problem with Furious Upheaval is that it requires you to pair Upheaval with some other ability in order to max out its damage. Good choices for this are Whirlwind, Charge, Leap, Twisters? Today we're talking about Whirlwind Upheaval. We get a few points in damage reduction and extra health. We take Rallying Cry and Challenging Shout, mostly for its synergy with Martial that'll let us bring Charge off cooldown. We've got points in Movement Speed and Charge, and all of the Berserking passive bonuses we can find. We'll need Battle Fervor to get Berserking every time we charge. We should be able to charge every 5 seconds, and that'll help us keep our Tybalt's Will buff up, in addition to gaining tons of fury. We take the standard passive damage clusters in the Weapon Master tree, and we take the standard 2-hand damage clusters in the Ultimate tree. In addition, we also pick up Furious Impulse. This is required in order to maintain enough fury to actually pull off Whirlwind Upheaval. Finally, our key passive is Unbridled Rage. Although that's not the normal meta this season, it's required in order to spend enough fury fast enough to satisfy the requirements of the Red Ring of Fervor and the Banished Lord's Talisman. In the early game, spending extra fury is a problem, but in the late game, it's an advantage. Not only do we cap Red Ring of Fervor and Banished Lord's Talisman more often, we also gain the benefit of things like Warbringer to generate Fortify, and we can also benefit from Invigorating Fury, although I didn't spec into it in this tree. Let's look at the Paragon. In the starting board, I've taken Exploit. This is necessary in order to gain all of our bonuses, including 2-hand axe expertise and Wallop. Our second board is the Blood Rage board. We get to this board as quickly as possible while leveling up because it has the incredibly valuable Blood Rage node. With this node, we want to stack as much berserking damage as possible. We also pick up a few damage reduction against bleeding enemies and enough strength nodes to satisfy our glyph. which in this case is Ire. We also pick up the rare node cluster Enraged for a lot more berserking damage. From here, we can path to the right into the Warbringer board. We pick up fire resistance as well as maximum life, and then path down to Warbringer itself. Since we're spending Fury very quickly in this build, this should keep us topped off with Fortify all the time. To the left of the Blood Rage board, we have Carnage. We path again through more damage while berserking, and we pick up Carnage on the way. Carnage is incredibly good for Upheaval builds because Upheaval is so slow. Having any amount of extra attack speed is going to make it feel much better. We slot Might into the Carnage board to multiply our damage reduction from close and our damage while berserking bonuses. We pick up resistance to cold at the bottom and more berserking damage at the top. Going up from Carnage, we go into the Bonebreaker board. Don't get distracted by Bonebreaker itself. When 50% of your upheavals are overpowered, getting another one every 12 seconds is almost nothing. Instead, we're going to this board to get all of the great bonuses in the Glyph Radius, including overpower damage and damage reduction while healthy. To multiply these bonuses, we slot Marshal in this board. In addition to multiplying the magic nodes, Marshal will also allow us to bring charge off of cooldown by using one of our shouts. That'll allow us to generate more fury and maintain our berserking buff as much as possible. To the right of Bonebreaker, we have Decimator. We path all the way to the Decimator node. Anytime we make enemies vulnerable or overpower a vulnerable enemy, we get a huge bonus to our damage. We should be doing this all the time, so we'll get 100% uptime on these bonuses. In the Glyph Radius, we put Crusher, and we pick up damage reduction from vulnerable enemies. Finally, going down from Carnage, our last board is the Weapon Master board. We path through the resistance to all elements and pick up enough of it to cap all of our resistances. We may need a couple extra armor bonuses as well. And last but not least, we pick up Weapon Master itself. Weapon Master, when combined with Furious Impulse, gives us enough fury every time we swap from Whirlwind to Upheaval to almost pay for Upheaval itself. The efficiency of Upheaval is not as good as HotA, and we don't stack maximum fury in this build, so we actually have to make a few more careful decisions to make sure we can maintain our fury. I'm going to show the best in slot gear for this build, but there are other gear options available in the planner if you don't have these. First and foremost, we have, of course, the Harlequin Crest. On our chest, we run Juggernauts. We get as much damage reduction as possible. On our gloves, Earth Striker. Attack speed, strength, overpower, and ranks of upheaval. Our legs are Tybalt's Will. This is incredibly important as it lets us generate 50 fury every time we charge. Our boots are where we get all of our resistances. We also put Ghostwalker on the boots, and every time we charge, we get a nice movement speed bonus. Our weapon is, of course, the Hellhammer. It gives us tons of ranks of upheaval and damage reduction from burning enemies. Our two one-handers are maces because they give us more overpower damage, and our priority affixes are strength, damage while berserking, overpower damage, and all stats. We'll run Limitless Rage and Edge Masters on our one-handers. The best two-handed slashing weapon is the Grandfather. Our amulet of choice is the Banished Lord's Talisman. This is critical to make this build work, as is the Red Ring of Furor. For our second ring, I've chosen to put Unrelenting Fury. Every time we hit a boss with Upheaval or kill an enemy, we'll regenerate a healthy amount of the cost of Upheaval. Our affixes of choice for this ring are Resource Generation, Damage while Berserking, Maximum Fury, and Maximum Life. Alternatives to Maximum Fury and Maximum Life may be Overpower Damage and Damage to Close Enemies. Our Season 3 abilities will be Flash of Adrenaline for additional damage, Duration and Tactical so we keep that up 100%, and Genesis to make it even better. There are alternatives to this listed in the planner. Our other governing stone is Tempest. We run that with breaking support to keep bosses vulnerable. We also run Safeguard support for damage reduction. We don't need to run efficiency here because we have a 100% crit rate as it is. Finally, we'll put our Evernight tuning stone in the last slot. Whirlwind Upheaval is a fun and addicting build that allows you to play it safe while still decimating swarms of enemies. It may take some getting used to and a little bit of attack speed on your gear to make it feel alright, but once you get the hang of it, it's hard to stop. If you try this build, let me know what you think. And if you have other interesting Upheaval builds, I'd love to hear about them. Thanks for stopping by.